Hello there, Jonathan, Juliana. I just said something. I guess I said on my phone. Whoops. So, Jonathan, I just finished watching your video, and I wanted to make my video today in response to your review of the movie God's Not Dead 2. So I'm glad you had a good experience with the movie and had a fun time with the church. Now, I'm not exactly an expert to review this movie since I haven't seen it, and I also haven't seen the original one. But I do have a decent idea, and I got to listen to your review. So just a quick couple comments. It puts Christians on one end and then atheists on the other, and that the atheists are somehow hell-bent to strike down religion and remove it from society. Now, working in a science field, there's a lot of people who don't follow a particular religious faith, and very rarely do I find any of them attacking others for their religious beliefs. In most cases, it's probably apathy. They don't particularly care what these other people believe. They grew up around religious people. They have a pretty good idea of what being religious is about, what religion's all about, and they just aren't particularly interested in it. I didn't quite understand exactly what you were saying, but I think you were basically making the point that the movie itself couldn't present a coherent argument. But I think that goes to a larger point about talking about whether or not having definitive proof for Jesus is a requirement for a Christian faith. You want to be able to say, hey, here are these 100 historical examples and artifacts or whatnot that conclusively demonstrate the existence of Jesus, the miracles that he performed, his crucifixion and resurrection, and this is what I base off all of my beliefs off of. Now, if that's where you get your faith, then I actually think your faith is pretty weak. If your faith is based off historical facts, then if 100 years from now those facts get overturned, we get new knowledge, we get new information, does your faith then disappear? It reminds me of a quote, or a butchered quote from John Green. John said that he thinks that the least interesting question at a church that he goes to is, does God exist? That's kind of besides the point. You're at the church, you've bought in. The real interesting questions are, what do you do with your belief? What do you do with the examples of Jesus that we have from the New Testament, with the examples of the prophets in the Old Testament? Or how do you live your life with these challenges, with these scriptures that people have studied for hundreds and thousands of years? Now, that doesn't exactly solve anything in terms of a crisis of faith, but for me, having this proof of knowing 100% one way or the other, whether or not Jesus existed 2,000 years ago in Judea, that doesn't provide me all that much satisfaction. And I think that kind of gets beyond the point. That's not why people were saving these records of Jesus. It was because of the message that he had and the lessons that he had to teach everybody. So I'm starting to ramble a little bit, but the main point here is that I don't think that religious faith and proof go in the same bucket. In fact, if your religious faith is based on proof, then you might not have all that much faith at all. So I don't know. I have more thoughts to think on that, but I guess we are limited to a 4-minute video. So maybe, Jonathan, we can get this podcast up and running again, and we can have a much longer discussion about that. So with that, glad you enjoyed the movie. And Juliana, I'll see you Saturday.